Thanksgiving horror stories you'll regret watching alone. I was the only employee working Thanksgiving night at a grocery store. It happened last Thanksgiving during the overnight shift at the grocery store where I worked. I was 29, broke, and too stubborn to ask my parents for help, so I volunteered to work the graveyard shift on Thanksgiving night. I was trying to get a promotion, and I needed the money. Also, I had some issues with my family, and it was tense that year. Everyone else wanted the day off. I figured I'd make a little extra cash, then get some leftovers at my friend Kyle's house the next day. The store was one of those chains just off the interstate. Fluorescent lighting, automatic doors, bad security cameras. On holidays, it stays open just in case people forget something they need at the last minute. That night, I was the only one scheduled after 8 p.m. No manager, no other staff, just me, a mop, and a few hours of stocking frozen pies and wiping down shelves that no one touched. Around 10, I grabbed some discount sushi from the clearance shelf, clocked back in, and sat in the stockroom scrolling through TikToks. It was quiet, not just night shift quiet. I mean, dead quiet. No music, no HVAC hum, just that uncomfortable stillness that settles in right before your body realizes something feels off. At 11:13 p.m., I heard the sliding front doors open. I peeked at the monitor near the register, expecting to see a drunk guy or someone else trying to get in, but no one came in. I waited a full minute, then stepped out onto the sales floor. Nothing. No voices, no carts moving, just the hum of the refrigerators and the buzz of a dying fluorescent bulb near the freezer aisle. I checked the doors. They were wide open. No wind, no malfunction light. I manually slid them closed and stood there a second, just listening. I figured it was a sensor glitch. I re-anchored myself. It's a holiday. You're tired. It's nothing. Just finish your shift. But at 11:45, it happened again. This time, I watched the footage. The doors opened, and someone stepped inside. He was tall, in a dark coat, just walked in and stood still in the aisle. Didn't move, didn't look around, just stood there like he was waiting for something. I replayed the footage 3 times. He didn't move at all. He didn't even look at anything, just stood there. But when I walked out to check, aisle 2 was empty. No sound, no footsteps, no cart, just me and shelves full of canned cranberry sauce. I felt off, like the air was heavy. You know when you're suddenly aware of every sound in your body, that kind of quiet. My ears were ringing, but there was nothing to hear. I went back to the stockroom and pulled up the footage again. He wasn't there anymore. The aisle was empty on the tape too. That's when the intercom clicked on. Just static. No voice. Then I heard it. A whisper. Couldn't make out words. Just breath. Soft. Right against the speaker. Then it cut off. I locked the stockroom and stayed there until my shift ended. I kept the lights off and sat in the corner with my back against the wall. I didn't clock out. I didn't clean anything. I just left. 2 weeks later, I got a call from a local cop. They were investigating reports of break-ins around the area, mostly small businesses, mostly after hours, places like ours. He asked if we'd had anything strange happen recently. I told him the story. He got real quiet, then said, "You might want to check the ceiling tiles near the break room. There have been cases of people living above stores, sleeping in the rafters." Sure enough, when the manager checked, one of the ceiling tiles in the back hallway had been shifted slightly. No one noticed it before. Inside the crawl space, they found a mattress, a coat, a flashlight, and an empty takeout tray from our deli. No one's been caught, but ever since then, when I hear automatic doors open, I still get goosebumps, especially when they open for no one. Someone broke into our house after Thanksgiving dinner, but they didn't want anything. It happened last year, the night after Thanksgiving. We hosted dinner at my parents' house, this quiet old place they've lived in for decades, tucked into a wooded stretch of land. Most of the family left after dessert. By 9 p.m., it was just me, my mom and dad, and our aging lab Daisy. I stayed behind to help clean, and I figured I'd sleep in the guest room instead of driving home late. Around 10:30, I stepped outside to throw out some trash and noticed the motion floodlight flash in the backyard. It caught my attention, but I didn't see anything. Probably a raccoon or something. Daisy started whining a little at the door, ears perked, but tail wagging. That's when I first had that small, crawling feeling. I locked the door behind me, double-checked the front one, and went to bed around midnight. But at 2:17 a.m., I woke up, wide awake, like something snapped me out of a dream. The house was quiet, but Daisy was pacing. I could hear her nails clicking on the hardwood. Then I heard something else. A soft creak, like weight shifting on old floorboards. I figured maybe my dad had gotten up. Sometimes he walks the halls when his arthritis keeps him up. But when I opened my bedroom door, I saw muddy footprints. Long ones, leading from the front hallway down toward the den. They weren't from any of us. My dad always wore slippers, and these were boot prints. I froze, hand still on the door frame. I don't know how long I stood there, probably 30 seconds, maybe more, before I forced myself to move. I checked the front door. It was unlocked. The deadbolt was unlocked, and the latch was hanging loose. I woke up my parents. My dad grabbed his old revolver, and I called the police. We did a sweep of the house together. Nothing was missing. Not a single thing. Not the car keys by the door. Not the wallets on the kitchen counter. Not even the old antique clock near the entryway. There was no sign of forced entry, just the footprints at the unlocked door. The cops were polite, but there wasn't much they could do. They said it might have been someone who wandered in drunk, maybe even someone from the area who knew the house. But when we checked the Ring camera that I had installed for my parents, that's when I got chills. At 1:24 a.m., nearly an hour before I woke up, a man appeared on the feed. He wasn't moving, just standing there. He stood facing the front door with his head slightly tilted, like he was listening. He stayed there for 11 minutes, didn't knock, didn't try the handle, didn't look at the camera, just stood completely still. Then at 1:35, he stepped out of frame. We never saw him leave. We checked every camera angle. He didn't walk down the driveway, didn't go around the side. It was like he just vanished. But somehow, after he left the frame, a few minutes later, I woke up, and there were footprints inside. We changed the locks that weekend, got more cameras, put in motion sensors, but nothing's happened since. And maybe that should make me feel better. But every Thanksgiving now, when the house gets quiet again, I remember how close he was, and how he didn't want anything. Not the money, not the car, not even to be seen. Just to stand there and listen. We bought a turkey fryer. It exploded while we slept. We decided to host our own Thanksgiving last year. Just the two of us, plus a few friends from work who didn't have anywhere else to go. No long drives, no politics at the table, no passive-aggressive family tension, just food, wine, and peace. We bought a turkey fryer online, one of those propane-powered ones you set up in the garage. It had great reviews, came with next-day shipping, and promised perfectly crisp skin under an hour. We've never used one before, or had deep-fried turkey before, but the setup looked simple enough. We ran a test batch the night before, and everything seemed fine. Thanksgiving Day was chaotic, prepping sides, setting the table, making sure the dog didn't eat anything off the counter. The guests were supposed to arrive at 4. By 4:30, the turkey was frying in the garage. We kept checking on it every 10 minutes. Everything smelled amazing. But at some point, we stopped checking. Wine was flowing. People were laughing. The football game was on. The food coma was real. We got comfortable. Too comfortable. Around 1 a.m., we were both passed out on the couch. I woke up because the carbon monoxide detector chirped once. Then the smoke alarm screamed. I ran toward the garage and opened the door. A blast of heat knocked me back. Thick black smoke was pouring into the hallway. We grabbed the dog and ran out the front door barefoot. By the time the fire department showed up, flames were ripping through the entire garage and into the kitchen. The turkey fryer had combusted, possibly overheated or tipped or both. The fire chief said it looked like faulty wiring. The model we bought had been recalled overseas, but not in the US. We lost half the house. Insurance covered the damage, but we had to stay in a rental for months. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see the garage door glowing orange through the smoke. But here's the part that still messes with me. A few weeks after the fire, I was digging through the attic, what was left of it anyway, looking for a box of photos that somehow hadn't been destroyed. I found a cardboard shipping box near the back wall, burned at the edges, but still intact. Inside it was the exact same turkey fryer, brand new, still sealed, but we only ordered one. This is Mr. H. You're listening to Masked Horror.